Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another OSR tabletop live stream with myself, DM Bloodworth. Um, Somewhat in a somber mood because I got some very bad news today. So a longtime friend, a longtime internet friend, but a longtime friend nonetheless, has passed away. I am going to just post this up here and add a photo. So this was Edwin Johnson. We in my circle of friends dating back to as early as 2001 knew him as Captain Longstreet. Edwin was a father, a husband, an artist, a gamer, and a jack of many trades. He is the individual that I first met when I started getting into massively multiplayer role-playing games. The first, I believe, was either Star Wars Galaxies when it was still in its beta. And then around the same time, Edwin actually introduced me to online when it was in its alpha or beta test as well. And then we moved on to other games, and slowly over the initial 2 years or so of our friendship, we've added more and more individuals to our inner circle, which became the Fraternity of Independent Sea Tyrants for the game Pirates of the Burning Sea. And in that massively multiplayer online game, we had various roles in the creation process of that game. Both Edwin and I were in the alpha test. We often joke and say how we sailed the high seas before there was water. It was literally ships on a grid map, and in that the upcoming 8 years that our YABC Pro Boards group were together, we strang along some of the most insane and memorable stories. We were active in various forums. We were active on. I myself was a community manager of both the Pirates of the Burning Seas forums, but also on the Bethesda forums for Sea Dogs, which was supposed to develop a Sea Dogs massively multiplayer online game until it shifted over, was bought out by Disney, and became a what was the Pirates of the Burning, not Pirates of the Burning Seas, Pirates of the Caribbean role-playing game on the computer. So it is a great loss to those of us who have known Edwin for going on 22 or even more years. He was a great friend, very, very helpful to anyone who reached out to him, especially those of us in that inner circle of close to 20 individuals from all over the world. That was the other thing about that particular gaming group. We had friends in Brazil and Denmark and and elsewhere, just all throughout the United States, obviously, and in Germany, England, just everywhere you can imagine. Some individuals stationed in the Philippines, if I remember correctly, with the U.S. Marines and such. So it was a tight-knit group, and it is a great loss. And so I will, of course, raise a a shot of rum to Edwin. Fair winds to you, my friend, and thank you for all of the 20 plus years of just enjoyment and camaraderie. So here's to you. And that was a full one. That was a full one for you, Ed. So now to lighter note. And thank you, Mercurius. Thank you very much. And yes, thank you for the condolences. And now we move on to the topic I was going to talk about today. And so here we have Streamyards. Streamyards is having a pricing change, and I really want to thank Eric Tenkar at Tenkar's Tavern for bringing this to light for me, because I had no idea. Because it's not like Streamyard came out and told anyone. At least I certainly did not get an email informing me of a price structure change. All I got was some indications that there was going to be some new features. And bottom line, the price structure change was going to bring me from $25 a month with the various things that I had at the time, which I can allow up to 10 people on screen at once. And, was able to upload my own backgrounds and such, like you see here on this here. So I had some control, and it is a good visual quality. It's a good, image quality of it and all. But it was going to go from $25 a month to roughly $45 a month. So it essentially going up 125%, which is really kind of crazy. And yes, and others are talking about it as well. It really is going to shift us to another provider, and that's bottom line. A very strange thing that some of these companies, I think they're just so out of touch that that they think that, oh well, we can just skyrocket these prices, give you minimal new features, and people are just going to accept that. There are just too many other alternatives out there that that it's just not going to work. And it wasn't until I saw that, which I didn't know ahead of time, and maybe it was just just not paying attention, but I noticed that StreamYard is actually is owned by Disney. So yeah, not surprised that they're going to try to milk whatever they can, and to get to get some kind of a return on all of their other losses. And so I'm just not going to accept it. So my yes, money does talk, and Walking Wallets talks even louder. And I think that they're going to find that that people walking away is going to be something that they're not going to recover from. And maybe they don't care. I'm starting to get to the point. I did a video this morning talking about Adventures League and how that's in a real dilemma area where conventions are having a hard time scheduling, because they don't know what direction Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro are going with the Adventures League, and what rule sets, and can they use 2024, or will they not be allowed to use 5e and such. And again, it just shows how these big corporations have no connection to their consumer base and what their consumer base actually wants. And when they break that, when they break the seal on that, there's no putting it back in, right? You can't put the toothpaste back in the bottle. And once people start leaving, there's so many other alternatives out there that they're not going to go back. And or they're going to have to dramatically slash their prices to where it is that we've already discovered is cheaper with their old pricing structures, which I found with Restream. Restream is actually $19 a month as opposed to $25. And I could probably get close to the same functionality out of it once I sign up for it, which I will sign up for it as a trial basis. So lay out the first $19 and see how that works out and see. The only thing I'm not quite sure on is the quality of the image with Restream, but it does appear to have all of the functionality that the others will have. Yeah, and yes, I'm sure others do use Restream. And at one time I did use Restream. It was a while back before I started using Streamyards. So it was a very easy transition to go back. They still had all of my information in there, and all I have to do is activate the account. Hey, Jose, how's it going? Good evening to you as well. So yes, I do know that others are using it. I know that Tenkar mentioned that he was going to go someplace else and possibly Restream as well. So that was really the thing that was on my mind yesterday. Was I wanted to just start letting everybody know that I will be making a transition over to a different streaming service, and hopefully that will still give me the same functionality, or at least close enough to be worth using, so that I can still continue delivering you, a fairly decent product of allowing you to come in on the streams as well, which I will get to that right now. So I am going to, once I find it, if anyone wants to jump in and talk about this topic or any other topic, there is a link to join. So the membership came, Mobius, I think from every month I get 10 free subscriptions in which I can give them out 5 at a time. And I think you were one of my freebies just the other day during my live stream. So congratulations. And that certainly does open you up. You can go to my Discord and just type in there that you are a member, and then I will attach that to you, and that will allow you to join in any of my members only game sessions, whether it be a one shot or limited run mini campaigns and such. So definitely jump over to the Discord if you're not there already and check that stuff out. And Mercurius just gifted someone else a free membership as well. And as I said, I still have 5 left, and I'm going to save those for the weekend that I am attending ShireCon. So that will be on December 27th and 28th. And definitely do that. Have you played Dragonbane? No, I have not. And I'm on the verge. I'm getting ready to start entering into my my preparation for conventions. And so storing away a little money in order to get ready for those, because they are they're going to run me hotel stays and all of that kind of thing. But Dragonbane is probably something I will definitely get the starter set. Maybe I'll ask for it for Christmas, and or it'll be something that I definitely pick up in 2025. So it is definitely on my radar. I hear a lot of great things about it. I love free league stuff, and it is something that I really should get my hands on and start running as well. I have no urge to play as a mallard. No, you don't have to. Oh, and you don't have to play a duck in Dragonbane, but it's a cool option. It's certainly unique. I haven't seen. I mean, you've always been able to play, various animal type creatures like in Toon or in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but it certainly is something unique, which is kind of cool. I love the solo system for it. Also, Forbidden Lands is pretty good solo play. Yeah, yeah. There's they have good stuff, and Modifius put out a solo play book as well, which I will eventually cover on the channel, and we'll certainly look into that kind of thing as well. But my main focus right now is on convention play and getting as many convention games going as I can, and then also some of these mini campaigns. I want to get mini campaigns up and running and playing out different game systems with different groups of players. I am also trying to sit in on and do some 4D role playing with the groups that are involved with 4D role playing, and I spoke to 28 millimeter and Crispy and several others on that Discord channel, and looking to see when I can get in for some 4D training and get a little bit more experience on the player side of things, since I've been dungeon mastering and game mastering for so darn long that I'd like to get a little bit more time back playing again and experiencing game systems from that perspective as well. So a lot of stuff going on, and always busy with what I'm trying to do in gaming, and the channel is a major part of that. I just love producing things for the channel and getting your feedback, and and just trying to bring to you things that you want to listen to and respond to and interact with as well. And I welcome those suggestions, just like I got one, reminding me of Dragonbane and how I should check it out, and it certainly is on my radar. So as I mentioned, Restream it might be my solution. That will be in 14 days because I'm not going to overlap payments on them, and that is something you can see in about 2 weeks' time. So that will coincide. My first Restream will most likely be that same weekend that I am returning from Rising Phoenix. So that will be a good time for me to showcase and then to give out those free memberships and such during that on a Restream. So we'll see how it works out. I'm hoping that the functionality and the quality of image is equal to, if not better than, what Streamyards is giving me now. Yes. Yeah. You know what? It's gaming groups will eventually come around, and you'll eventually find a time when you're a little bit less busy to get a great gaming group going. I would try online gaming, and if you get a nice, that's all I do right now other than conventions. So I've been exclusively online gaming since really 2015. I only started going back to conventions post-COVID, and these last 3 years of doing that has been very eye-opening and really, really an enjoyment. But I'm still doing the online gaming. So I would definitely look to do that. If you join, Jose, if you join my Discord, and the Discord link is in every video on my channel, then join it. I'll give you the role of player, and at any opportunity, you can you find an opportunity to jump in a group. If I'm looking for somebody to fill in a group or start a new game that I'll be running a limited campaign on, you're welcome to join. Yeah, so that's really cool. You're welcome to join. Jump in on the Discord, and I'll hook you up with, like I said, a role so that you'll be able to see everything available for you, and you're good to go. When the program wants to play. In the nursing program. I'm sure it's probably very, very busy anyway. It's probably very intensive coursework and everything like that. My sister is actually an RN, has been an RN for 30 years. So, and I know her hours used to be crazy, especially when she was an emergency room nurse. Yeah, I can definitely see that it's a very time intensive job. But once you're finished with your training and everything, and you do have some time, then that would be great. Yeah, women are not playing. Yeah, that's what we always found in the late 70s, early 80s too. There were just not that many girls playing. So I definitely get you there. But I do have women in my group as well. And so, and if you caught the very, very beginning, a good part of that gaming group that I was with, Edwin and others, also included women. At one point, we had three women in our group. When the group was around 15 players, 15 consistent people in that grouping. So, I mean, still only about 10 to 15% of the player base was women. So it's still very, very small. But women in MMOs are a totally different kind of player. I mean, it's just I've never met a more ruthless bunch of individuals than female guild masters and or captains and such, that they were pretty hardcore, especially in PvP centric games as well. So yeah, you'd be surprised. Yeah, dating odds are pretty good. So anyway, I'll move on to the next topic, which initially I wasn't really planning for the stream, but talking a little bit about conventions and getting back to that. So I did a video earlier on today talking about the Adventure League and how, because the 2024 SRD 5.2 is not going to release until sometime in February, after the release of the D&D 2025, I'm going to call it, Monster Manual, then that is really putting off the ability for conventions prior to that to schedule games under Adventure League guidelines, because they don't know which guidelines they need to follow. They don't know if they can continue following 5e until the new guidelines are out, or they can't mix and match what they know of 5.5 or whatever you want to call it, D&D 24, with 5e, or they can't do anything until the SRD is released. In the meantime, there are conventions that are coming up that are either in January or possibly sooner. The one I was looking at is in January, and they only have one Adventure League game slot filled, and the rest they don't know what to do with. And that's literally only one Adventure League slot at a convention with over 600 attendees already. So that really goes to show you the gridlock that has been caused by the lack of information. All right, and fortunately, it seems that Troll Lord Games, with their Castles and Crusades, as you can see, are going to fill in some of that gap because they are looking to expand their organized play into into some East Coast conventions, which includes that one there. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm actually playing in some of the games that that the members of Troll Lord Games are running, and so really looking to see how that takes off. People with, are you going to get the? No, I am absolutely not. And the reason why is because I got rid of my 5e. I have no, it's just not the game for me, number one. I played 5e maybe 5-6 times and never really liked the system. And that was prior to, that's when it first came out, when it was at the height of its popularity, and it just never felt like D&D to me. So, so no, I won't. Plus, I will still not buy anything from Hasbro, or Wizards of the Coast, regardless. And so I will continue running my OSR and independent games. And I have no, my tables are all full. All right, so I don't have a problem with filling my table and having an excess of people on the waiting list for my convention schedules. So I don't need 5e. I don't need D&D 2024 in order to continue expanding my experience in the hobby as a game master at conventions and running my own personal games from home online. No problem whatsoever. I never have. I've never had a problem filling a table with virtually every game system I've ever advertised, whether it be on Roll20 or elsewhere. Always fill up a table. Yeah, and I would still buy the old version of HeroQuest too. I would still get the old one. I'd buy it on eBay. If I was into like board games, I have certain very, very select board games. The board game has to be either the games that I played back in the 80s, mostly Avalon Hill, and then it would have to be something connected to Robert E. Howard in some way. So I have Monolith's, Conan's, and Solomon Kane board games, as well as another one, I forget who put it out, that's the Tower of the Elephant, which is supposed to be my Conan thing of the day to talk about for Sumerian September, which I'll probably get to a little bit later on tonight. So, but anyway, yeah, that's pretty much, it's a pretty penny for the OG version of HeroQuest, sure. But to me, it's well worth it if I were into that thing. I didn't play it back in the day, so I really don't have any feelings of, I'm missing out. And knowing Hasbro, you probably get it from Ollie's in a little short while for a very, very cheap price. Anyhow, not the original, but I'm saying the new one. I looked at the new one when it was in Kickstarter or whatever it was. And I was like, I'm not going to pay $300 for a game or whatever the heck it was at that price. It was high. It was very high, and it was higher than the original. So even on eBay prices. So I'll wait on that one. So getting back, sorry, I'm coughing a little bit. Getting back to the Adventure League issue, I can see it as I can see it as yet another misstep from them, and I think it's going to hurt them in the convention space because I showed in that video. If you watch that video, you'll see it. I put up that there was a poll on Facebook, and I trimmed off all the identifiers so you didn't know who was actually talking about it. But it was like the question was very simple. Do you want to see Adventure League at this convention? And would you not miss it if it's not at this convention? And it was like 84% not missing it. Only 16% would want to see it at the convention. So, I mean, the numbers spoke, pretty clearly that nobody really cared that it was that it would be there or not. There were actually far more people that said, "Nah, don't even bother," kind of attitude with it, than those that said, "Oh, you really should have it." So again, I'm hoping others fill in the void. But I noticed a decline in the number of sessions these past 2 years anyway, and at some of the same conventions. And these weren't tiny conventions; they were halfway decent sized conventions, several hundred participants, and the numbers for Adventure League just seemed to be declining, and other games were gaining more prominence. I think come this January, when I go to Philadelphia Game Expo, I am going to see more than 50% not difference. More than half the games will be other than 5e. Let's put it that way. I think that scale has now flipped, and there's far more representation of OSR and independent games. And when I say OSR, I'm including old school D&D. So OD&D, D&D BX, AD&D First Edition, Second Edition, Castles and Crusades. Big one now with Shadow Dark. Plus, some of the game conventions I go to, you see a lot of Hyperborea, you see a lot of Deadlands, and other other Savage Worlds game settings. I see a lot of Weird Frontiers. I'm seeing a lot of Blade Runner at conventions now as well. I'm expecting to see more Fallout, which I will be introducing as a game master for myself in 2025. And I'm sure Dragonbane and others are also making their way to convention spaces as those franchises continue to grow. Yeah, I mean, Gen Con is absolutely the biggest of them. I don't think that I haven't been to Gen Con since Gen Con 18 in 1985. So it was a games convention then. I think it's more of a trade show now, although they still have gaming going on, yes, but I think it's more of a trade show than it is a game convention where you're going to actually do gaming. If you are in Minnesota, I would recommend doing Gary Con, Dave Con, and even Gary Con is starting to get kind of wonky that way too. Dave Con for sure. Do Venture Con, that's in Madison, Wisconsin. I mean, Minnesota is a great place if you're not adverse to traveling, one state over. And yes, Gary Con is in Lake Geneva, primarily run by Luke Gygax and others. But yes, so you can go to GaryCon. Count the Country Fair, yes. Yes, Jose, look it up. Look up GaryCon. That'll be a good one if you want to see a lot of old school D&D stuff and other old TSR games and stuff. But yeah, definitely check those out. You're lucky that you live closer. I wish I lived that close, but Wisconsin is basically a 15-hour drive for me, one way. So it kind of rules those out. They're not within my region that I would, easily attend. I basically have like a 4-hour radius around me. If your convention is within 4 hours of me, I can make a day trip out of that. Yes, and you will see some of that there. Can used to be fake con. But anyway, so I definitely can see I can definitely see some opening for other game systems, other publishing companies to fill in that gap on where Adventures League is leaving that gap open for others to fill in. So that would be a great thing to see, in the upcoming future. Oh, it's a good thing I don't have a game to run tonight. I have a hard time getting through it. So anyway, I don't know why I'm coughing up so much. But anyway, let's see. So GaryCon, yeah. So I would recommend that as a fairly moderate sized and well advertised convention to go to, Jose. But I definitely look into DaveCon too, which is in Indiana. I believe they're Indianapolis, and that is it might be some small town near there, but no, I'm sorry, not Indianapolis, Minneapolis. And let me see, DaveCon. Let me get you the right information. So DaveCon is going to be in 2025, April 25th through 27th. And let's see, I will share this for you so you can check out DaveCon. So here is DaveCon. So 25th to 27th, 2025, Bloomington, Minnesota. So that's in your home state, isn't it? Yes, it is. That's in. Are you in Montana? I'm hoping it's not Montana. Going down, you have Dave McGarry, who invented the Dungeon board game. You have Dave Wesley, who is the grandfather of role-playing games. He created Braunstein. You have Mike Carr, obviously began with TSR. William Hoyt, an original Blackmore player. Ross Maker, another co-creator and original Blackmore player. Baron Durop, so Dungeon Masterpiece. You have Heidi Gygax and Eric Garland. You have Justin Alexander attending. You have Bob Worldbuilder, Grace, which is Bob's wife. Greg Gillespie, a game designer, creator of Dragon Slayer RPG. David Johnson. Thomas and Dave Yeager, who created Mystic Days. Ken Fletcher, Kevin McCall, Blackmore historian. Mark Ryan Hugan, Vampire the Masquerade. And again, that is in Bloomington, Minnesota. There you go. Look at that. I mean, so that's the one. That is what you should go to. All right. It's only 40 minutes away. I mean, that is phenomenal. I was invited to go, and if I can make it happen, that would be awesome. But it's just the flight to get there. And I recently went through Kennedy Airport here in New York, and it was such a nightmare that that it just wasn't it wasn't a great experience. And that was for a 4-day trip as well. So it really took away from the trip, that it just wasn't worth it. And to go to a convention and have to deal with JFK Airport, no matter how cheap the airfare is, just getting to the airport and back again cost $250 anyway. So it kind of wipes out whatever cheap airfare I could have gotten. And then it just takes away so much from a short trip. Now, I don't know if it was like super, super expensive. I just didn't know whether or not it was something that I really needed, because I have Homes Edition and I have AD&D First Edition. And so I can easily homebrew the two of those and come up with the same game. Shadow Dark and Dragonbane all day, every day for me. Yeah, I absolutely love Shadow Dark. Great convention game. And something that I will be running extensively in 2025. And I've already been doing in 2024. So let's see. I know what I could use. $80 just for the core rulebook. Yeah, that is a little bit expensive. That's on the steep end. Shadow Dark is like 60, unless you get the better, the collector's edition. I should do another shot for my friend there. So anyway, so yeah, I'm glad, Jose, that you're so close to Dave Kahn, and and you definitely want to go to Facebook and follow them on Facebook, and hook up with Victor, who is running the thing, and he will definitely welcome you in and get you all situated with getting there and really enjoying the time. I envy if you're able to get there. So, okay. So anyway, if anyone wants to join in and chat a little bit, there is the link. So as far as anything else in the hobby is concerned, like I said, I am preparing for ShireCon, which is coming up at the end of this month. I still have some tweaking of my Shadow Dark adventure to get done before I go there, and then I will be. Yes, I have heard of that system. The Sword of Cepheus recently. You just recently released in PDF. All right. I'll certainly look into it and check it out. But as I was saying, on my channel, I've been doing the, Sumerian Septembers. And like I said, I have to get around to doing today's installment of that, which is going to be Tower of the Elephant. Now I've already thought of a different format to use for that, to talk about a a game that I have, a board game that I have for that. And then I am also doing a shelf tour because a member on my channel asked, hey, can you just kind of let us see everything that you have on your shelf, which is taking forever to get through, but I'm just about done with my 6th little box that you see there. And then I will be, I'll be talking about if you look right below the Balrog, you'll see that one section there is my AD&D 2nd edition plus for Golden Glory, which is the retro clone of 2nd edition. That's kind of that shelf there. And then I will be going through not every single book that's in there, because I do have a lot of the Splat books. And I actually have 2 more Splat books coming to me. I have the complete guide of villains that should be arriving within the next week. And the complete guide of necromancy or necromancers, which is supposedly very hard to get. I paid like $60 for it. So hopefully that should be here within a week or so. And that, knock on wood, will complete my completionist attitude with AD&D 2nd edition. I've been playing Skyrim, never beat the game back in 2010 because I got bored after 100 hours, but now I'm decided to beat it. I've played Skyrim probably 200 or 300 hours and probably still never will beat it because I don't really follow the main quest all that much anyway. Right now I'm playing a lot of Fallout 4 just because it's tying into what I'm writing for the tabletop RPG. Okay. So let me, okay, still have that there. All right, let's see. The Dragon Spawn mechanics, not really annoying. They kept killing all the named characters in Skyrim. They got really annoying. They kept on killing all the named characters. Don't they repopulate though? Named characters when they're killed. I thought they do after a while. Otherwise, you could break the game. But maybe it's there's probably a mod you can add. There are 10,001 mods that they probably have. You know what, Sean play Skyrim now. Yeah, but he uses like 10,000 mods. You'd never be able to recreate what he's playing. They repopulate with non-named characters unless I am mistaken. Broke a bunch of quests for me. Oh, okay. Yeah, you would think that they would fix that. Every time I would fast travel to Whiterun, boom, another dragon. Yeah, I think I've probably only killed about 6 or so dragons in that game. Became a werewolf half a dozen times. Became a vampire 3 times maybe. Run some of the storylines of becoming a in the Fighters Guild and the Thieves Guild and the Assassins Guild. Almost always play a Nord. Not very much variety in that. I played Morrowind a lot more than I played Skyrim. And I still logged in like 300 hours of Skyrim. Yeah. So anyway, um, yeah, and that's the other thing about, I actually got into it with since you brought up Shauna, I actually got into it with Shauna. I was like, you can role play Skyrim, you can role play in Skyrim. You just anytime you're playing a character and you're not following a storyline, you're role playing. You're role playing. You're doing with your character what you want your character to do. Um, you're making choices based on your character's goals, not based on the game goals, and that's role playing. You of course didn't agree with me, but but yes, you can role play in a single player computer RPG. Yeah, hopefully it's good. They should they should open up their license for Modifius to create an Elder Scrolls tabletop role playing game. Yes, he does. It's a very, very selective definition of role playing as well. Which he's welcome to it. I just think that it's I I haven't seen it in practice yet. Let's put it that way. Yes, exactly. To each their own. I am perfectly satisfied with being a mid to high level 3D player. If I touch 4D at moments, great. If I don't, again, I am perfectly satisfied with being a mid to high level 3D player and or game master. Preferably more a game master than a player, but that's what I'm aspiring to reach. I think I'm somewhere in between the high twos and low threes. So I'm just trying to up my game a little bit and get into that solid place where everyone at the table is really comfortable with actually role playing their characters. And I'm comfortable with encouraging them to do so, and even, bending them, to a certain extent to actually do it. Hey, how's it going, Driving and Dragons? So good to see you. And yeah, I'll definitely have to check. I saw that you were commenting recently on the Bronstein kerfuffle, right? What is Bronstein? And I got to look into that, that little Twitter exchange and everything that Griffith and some others, I think in the Bro SR, were going back and forth over it and saying, well, Bronstein was never put to paper and copywritten. So anyone can claim that what they're running is Bronstein. I don't believe that. But also, there is something to, saying, hey, it just runs counter. It runs counter to too many other things. Gary Gygax very famously said, you can play AD&D however you want, but if you change certain elemental, certain essentials of the game system, then you're playing something. It's just not AD&D. And I think that's where Griffith was really coming off and saying that, don't tell me how to play Bronstein. I'm playing with David Wesley, the guy that created it. I know how it's played. And what you're doing is not playing Bronstein. But again, you can call whatever you want at your table. Who cares? But don't think that you're going to carry the credibility, of being right in calling it that. No one else has to acknowledge that you're right in calling that. They can still disagree. So, but I know I saw. I'm pretty sure it was on your channel actually. Uh, Driving in Dragons. Pretty sure you mentioned it at least, or it might have been one of the other things that came around. They aren't telling him how to play. Griff is telling him how. What? Yeah, but no, I think Griff was telling him that you can play it how you want, but it's not Bronstein. You know what I'm saying? It's like just like I semi quoted Gary Gygax. It's like you're playing something, it's just not it. Um, Nothing wrong with playing with something, but there's a difference in playing it how you want and calling it what you want. And I think that's the point that Griffith was making, was you can play it however you want. Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. And they're frequently wrong when it comes to claiming, and they, I had this because I interviewed Jeffro once on my channel. And, I told him, I was like, I asked Frank Metzner, I asked Lou Gygax, I asked Kelly Foote, who you may not know, but Kelly also played. He's in my gaming group, and he played at Gary Gygax's home table. And all three of them, all his players, especially his son Luke, but all three of them uniformly said Gary Gygax did not use one-to-one timing at his role-playing game table when he was running Dungeons and Dragons. Now, what he was doing when he was running his miniature war games might be a different story. But when he was running AD&D First Edition, it was not one-to-one timing. He did not run it that way. All right, and Jeffrey Johnson and some of the others in the OSR, the Bro SR, just wouldn't accept that as the reality. That that's not the way Gary ran his game. Gary was much more flexible with how to run a table, and much more flexible about rules at the table and such. And I witnessed it when I played at Frank Metzner's table back in January. I mean, rules written here. He was rolling 2d6 the whole game session. That's all he was rolling, was 2d6, and the 2d6 decided everything that was going on. And it's a a very old school way of playing a tabletop role playing game. All the rules in your head, just 2 die to determine something, and even though I was sitting right next to him, I couldn't exactly tell just by the dice rolls what kind of a system he was using, whether if he rolled 2 doubles, was that something? If he rolled odd numbers, even numbers, was that, another consequence or something like that? There was just no real telling from it because it was such a simple system that, and maybe the dice rolls meant nothing, and that was always the other possibility with him. All I know is that we had 16 players and 11 died, 11 characters died, and everyone had a blast. All right, and that's, to me, what what gaming is all about. And a lot of us were actually role playing too, so that's another thing that gets added in there. Yeah, I haven't tried to get Tim Kask on the show. Um, I'd like to get Robert Kuntz on the show because I've actually run some of his adventures and they're phenomenal. So I'd love to get Robert Kuntz on the show. I tried to get Frank on the show, and Frank, for a number of reasons, which I totally understand, um, won't do anybody's YouTube channel shows and everything like that. But like I said, I met him in person, and we spoke hours. Before the session, we spoke for like an hour and a half, and then afterwards, he knew me, I knew him, obviously, and we had a lot of discussion and a lot of talking about his Kickstarter that he attempted several years back, and it was just great meeting him. But yeah, there were some old school people out there that I'd love to get. I'd love to get David Wesley on the show as well, and I will have to reach out to Victor to see if I can get that to happen as well. Yes, yeah, all of those guys are legends. I mean, they really are. And I would put others in that category as well. That there are just and I just lost a longtime gaming friend today, someone that I've known since 2001 or so, and someone who introduced me to a lot of the gaming that became the gaming that I did for, almost 15 years after that. And, another guy near his 80s that passed away, and just a treasure to have in your gaming group. And it's a shame that, we all get older, and, eventually, hopefully 20, 30 years down the road, some of us don't have to worry about that, but, 20, 30 years down the road, the next generation will be hitting our 70s and 80s as well. And, and it'll be time for the new generation to come in. You look like a fairly young guy there, so you probably have, another 40, 50 years ahead of you. So we shall see. Yeah, that's a lot. That's the more simple systems. Check out Crimson Dragon Slayer. That's another one that's super, super easy. And that's a weird gonzo sci-fi kind of system, and a lot of fun, and very, very simple form. Just three stats you kind of follow. Not really even stats. You basically just have defense, health points, and like magic points kind of thing, and that's it. Yeah, it depends on how they lump them in, but sure. I mean, some people like a little bit more. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to start wrapping this up because for some reason I'm just coughing a lot. Maybe I need some different medicine. So as always, thanks everyone for joining. I'm just going to hit the banners really, really quick. So Streamyard pricing changes and how it will affect my channel. I will be moving on to Restream in about 14 days. And hopefully that will bring you that will continue to bring you the content that's at the same level of quality and everything I'm hoping to continue to bring you, especially with visual quality. Hopefully the resolution is not, 720 by whatever it is, and it's like 1280 by whatever that's supposed to be. I never know the actual things. I just know which resolution is better than the other. And and then once again, I will share a another announcement that a really good friend of mine has passed, and just wanted to share that. So so fair winds to Edwin Captain Longstreet Johnson, a very good friend of mine, dating back to 2001. Brought me into gaming as far as massively multiplayer online games are concerned, and we were community managers on a number of game systems. We were alpha testers and beta testers in more than a dozen MMOs. Again, going back to either EVE Online or Star Wars Galaxies. I think Star Wars Galaxies was the first that we were with. We were also, with World of Warcraft when it first came out, EVE Online, The Age of Conan, Pirates of the Burning Sea, Sea Dogs 1 and 2, although 2 eventually became Pirates of the Caribbean. So just he was an artist, as you can see his artwork behind him. He was an artist. He was a real jack of all trades, a merchant marine at a time. He did everything under the sun. And for a man in his late 70s, still very, very active. He actually went back to college at age 70 to finish up his art degrees and such. So, and teaching art. So fair winds to him. And thanks everyone for joining. I hope you enjoyed the conversation about various things. Jose, great to meet you. Hopefully you can get to DaveCon, especially since that is so close to you. I'm hoping that you can get out there. And everyone else, thanks for joining. Have a great day. Take care.